Yeah, the
That's good.
Roth is the way to go,
Mm-hmm.
folks. For most people, there are a few things I should mention. There is an income limit for the Roth. Google that one, folks. If it's something you want to contribute to. So if you're single or married, filing joint, whatever tax filing status that you have, if you're over a certain income threshold, it will not allow you. You will not be able to do the Roths. And another. Sorry, I keep going back to the traditional versus Roth thing. So the traditional IRAs also have something called RMDs, required minimum distributions. So you put all of this money in, you get the tax break now, you're going to pay the taxes later, presumably at a more attractive point than you are today when you're working. But if you don't withdraw and you still have a balance at age, it varies depending on when you were born, but 72, 3, or 5, I think, are the three ages depending on your birthday. The IRS mandates that you start taking a certain percentage that accelerates as you get older. So that can create some pretty significant tax bills. The RMDs, especially if you've got Roth assets, maybe you've got a pension, maybe you've got Social Security, you've got non-retirement assets, you've got rental income. Maybe you don't even need to take money from your traditional IRAs. The IRS is going to mandate that you do. The Roth does not have RMDs. So if you didn't need to take money out of your Roth, if you were fortunate enough just to let that cook for your entire life, you could give that to your kids or whoever, and they get the tax-free benefit as well. So they do have to fully deplete. Just for ease, we won't go into some of the more complicated scenarios, but there's a 10-year rule with IRAs where you have to fully deplete it by the end of the 10th year after the person's death. So if you inherited a traditional IRA, by the end of the 10th year after that person's death, you have to withdraw it to zero. So imagine you're a married couple, you make a good income and you inherit $1 million traditional IRA. Good problem to have. It's all free money. But if you take, $100,000 a year for 10 years, that's going to be $100,000 that's taxed at your ordinary income rate. Whereas if you inherited a $1 million Roth IRA, you could leave that fully invested for 10 years if you didn't need the money. And then you could take all of that money out. Maybe it's become $1.5 million after 10 years, and it's all tax-free. So another really significant benefit to the Roth is that passing that one to your for legacy planning is really important.
I think that's even more in line with what this whole thing was about, was just the long game.
Yeah.
And you said it earlier, the best performing portfolios were dead people's.
Yeah.
That's probably part of the reason.
Just freedom. Would love to be able to help my family later in life, leave them a better starting point than I had, be able to be really generous with other people. And try to help everybody else set this. Everybody else can do all of the things we've done. It's never too late. And I think if you apply some basic principles, pay off your debt, have an emergency fund, get a Roth IRA, fund a 401k if you have one, and buy a house, buy some real estate. If you do those 5 things in a reasonable time frame, I think you'll be just fine.
It kind of sounds like one of those memes of, you want to be successful? Get up at 3:30 in the morning, read 2 books.
I feel like
I think they are simple. It's funny because it sounds like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's simple, but not that easy, I guess.
And I think it's I don't know why it's so inaccessible either. Like, I don't know. I think people are a little intimidated by it sometimes. Like, I work with some people. I work with some folks that are 401k millionaires who don't know anything about what they're invested in. They couldn't tell you.
Yeah, for sure.
And they've done extremely well. But I don't think they're interested in delving into what exactly the holding. What is this money invested in?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm not like financially illiterate. I might not have any finances, but I'm not illiterate. But I didn't really know anything about a Roth IRA until I was like 27. Like, I'd never heard of it. So I think it's just kind of for you and me where we're at, it's cultural.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people that really are. I know people that have money and they don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
Like you said,
100%. Yeah.
without the
And so,
401k.
exactly. And so that's where people in the finance space come in, is
Yes.
you can pay these people to do it for you. But I think we were talking about this a little bit before. I view myself as a teacher. Like I think that's what I would really like to do is educate. Not really, it's nothing about making money. To me, it's always been about, I'm comfortable with this topic. I understand it. I feel like I can teach people it. And so I feel like I'm almost kind of duty bound to do that. And if I can do it in a way that, puts food on the table, even better.
Well, then that should be maybe that should be your offer. Like you're not professionally a financial advisor, but maybe you're a financial educator for
Financial
profit.
educator. Yeah. I don't know. It feels wrong taking people's money. I don't, if
Well,
they're,
I think of it this way, similar to coaching like anything, powerlifting, life coach, whatever, therapist, it's all the same. Like you're really selling your knowledge in a product. Like I'm not really selling a product when I write someone a program. I'm giving them my knowledge, right? So I mean, it's the same thing.
yeah, I get, it's just, I don't know. I think there's like a charitable part of me. And I think that's what I like as much about like the personal training.
Yeah,
You feel like you can really make a difference in somebody's life. Like if I trained somebody who, when they came to me, they couldn't do a body weight squat to depth. Like
right.
literally couldn't do a squat, and now they're doing goblet squats with a 50-pound dumbbell. That gives me way more satisfaction than anything I've ever done.
See, that's someone that's going to come to you and they currently stick their money under a mattress and, they wait tables at night
Yeah,
and have a day job as well. And they put all that money under a mattress and then the house might burn down tomorrow. So that's where you come in.
yeah.
Maybe you set up because you have your Instagram, uh, your financial Instagram at dividend_deadlifter.
4 posts.
4 posts, 65 followers. Every single follower by name.
I've
But that's not
competed
the
with all of them
point.
probably.
Yeah. That's not the point. My thing is, you offer kind of like a master class to individuals. Because, I mean, I'm sure anyone can just contact you on any platform, whatever, and ask you questions. You'd be more than open to answering it. Maybe you should have a tip jar or something. Because, I mean, to me, I wouldn't feel right just getting information from you without giving you some compensation. So it's people are giving you something, whatever they can afford. It doesn't have to be charge them $150 an hour, but if they can give you $10 and it makes them feel good for asking for advice, maybe that's the way to go.
That's very true. Yeah.
And it's not going to push. It's not going to tip the lever in any direction, but it'll make
Yeah.
everyone feel squared away, like they don't owe you something.
Yeah. And I think that was that's been a big change in my philosophy. I would say my mid to late 20s, I was definitely more fixated on how can I grow this portfolio as aggressively as possible, and kind of settling more into, is this something that I'm happy with and I'm comfortable with, and the performance is not. It'll be fine. It'll get to where it needs to be, and then
Yeah.
with other people, I don't really feel comfortable. I don't want people to see me as somebody that's trying to sell them something. Like that Instagram page is not about me selling something. It's just about me talking about things that I enjoy. And
Right.
if 50 people, 100 people, however many people get some value out of that, and it helps them in some measurable way, then I hope, then that accomplished everything I set out to accomplish. And I'm willing to help anyone with any sort of situation. If it's too complicated, I'll say I'm not an expert by any stretch. I don't have any of the certificates. That's probably in the next couple of years something I'd like to work on. But some of those have some time. When you've obtained the certificate, you have to start working within 2 years. So there's kind of a clock there, and I don't know that I'm quite ready to transition yet. But I have no idea where I was going with that.
Just rambling. That's okay.
Yeah, just rambling.
Well,
solid
It's
hour
just
of
that
that, I'm sure.
you're, yeah, yeah. It's just that you are very charitable. You're,
Yeah.
like I said, the nicest guy in Alabama powerlifting, I think. And you're willing to give away advice, and anyone that needs it can reach out to you, check your posts out, see if that's something they're interested in. Especially if they listen to this for an hour, they clearly have some interest in it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
to
And
round it off, oh, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, people, I don't remember where I heard the quote from, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but people don't remember anything that you accomplished or anything about you really except how you made them feel. And so
Yeah.
I've tried to always apply that to these topics, and how I interact with people is I'm going to help you in any way I possibly can. I'm going to bend over backwards and do whatever I can. And so that the finance, this is just another piece of that. It's not really, I don't really ever plan to monetize anything about my social media if it ever becomes successful in any way.
Right. Well, yeah.
So
I mean, giving advice is normally not cheap. So, and my only point was some people, I wouldn't feel right just taking your advice. Like, say you told me something that worked really well for me and I felt good about it, and then I wanted to come to you for something else. Like, I would feel like I owe you something, even though in your mind it's like you don't owe me anything.
right.
I wanted to do that. I wanted you to be successful, but still, that's where you open up just an avenue for people to feel like they've contributed to your, not contributed, but like given back to you what you've given to them. Reciprocate.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But to round it out, how does long-term investing correlate with long-term gains in powerlifting? What do you think the best line to draw is there?
I think it's I think it goes back to having a process. What is your thesis about, on the investing side? What holdings do you have? Why do you hold them? What is your process for injecting more capital into them? And then just sticking with that process long term. Powerlifting, I think, is very similar. You're going to have some structure to your training. You're going to have some plan you follow. I would argue that powerlifting and training in general, you probably need to be a little bit more dynamic in how, and maybe a little bit more open to changes, especially if things are not working. I think investing, you can stick with something for a longer period of time, and I think most anything will be successful if you do it long enough. Powerlifting, I feel like that will work to an extent, but you may have to change some things, especially as you get stronger and you have trained longer and maybe have more training age. I don't think the things I did when I first started in powerlifting would really work now, or they would work to a point, but they might beat me up too much. So,
Oh yeah,
I would say there's a lot of parallels, but I would say it's mostly focusing on a process and consistency, and then riding the roller coaster and not getting so elated or so down. Just be relatively passive with the emotions related to it.
yeah.
Don't get too angry. Don't get too.
Easy to say. Some people don't have it in them to be calm ever.
Well, they'll have fun when they have kids or work a professional job.
Yeah, I think so too. Things will change for most people.
You have to learn.
Well, anything else you want to hit?
No, man. Thanks for having me. Anybody
Absolutely.
that listens to this, if you have any feedback or any questions, anything I can do to help, feel free to reach out to my main Instagram page or the Dividend Deadlifter page. Sometimes I forget that it exists and I don't click over there for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'll pop over and I've got messages and notifications that I just totally missed. So feel free to reach out to me through any avenue.
And his main Instagram is just his name, Logan Leverett. And
Very exciting.
exciting, yes. Well, cool. I appreciate you coming on. No, we talked
Thanks,
about
man.
this for a while, and
Yeah.
we've been good friends for not that long, actually. But
Because of powerlifting. I would have never
yeah.
met you otherwise.
I know the community is small, but it is thick. And yeah, appreciate you coming on. It's been fun.
Thanks, man.
And that's been your Friday night at the Barbell. Peace.